Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Money and the Law on My FM 101.3 with your host, Jay Marsden from the Marsden Law Group. I'm John Droin from Main Effort Financial. Tom Harmon is here from the Holliston Hub, a.k.a. the artist formerly known as HCAT.
Nice.
And we are here at WMRC, where we do our show every Saturday morning, Money and the Law, where we talk about anything that has to do with money and anything that has to do with law, primarily with the law, because there's a lot of things to cover in law, but we talk about
laws everywhere.
Planning, like the law plan, like estate planning, elder law planning. That's kind of that's our wheelhouse, right? That's where when people start talking about that, Jay's ears start to perk, like, oh, I'm sorry. We guys talking about trust? We guys talking about irrevocable trust? Let me show you. Let me talk about Medicaid plan. I'll show you how to do that. So that's what we do.
That's exactly what we do.
That's what we do.
As a team. And we've been doing it for a minute, right? Long time.
For
been a
more
minute.
than a minute.
Been a minute,
so,
as they say, yeah.
And what we always say is we try and present this in such a way where it's very easy to understand. So if we can understand it, then you absolutely can understand it.
Yes.
And but it's also, we made it in a very kind of, a very kind of relaxed and easy atmosphere, so people feel comfortable to talk about it. People feel comfortable to kind of, ask questions, because, even though there are such things as stupid questions, when it comes to money and it comes to law, I don't know. I don't know a lot of them. I don't know a lot of stupid questions, but yeah, and we make people feel like as if you were at some sort of maybe some social gathering, maybe like a backyard, like what you might be doing this very weekend.
Oh, yes, barbecue.
A backyard barbecue, or maybe some kind of beach activity.
Yes.
If you ever want to talk about something to do with maybe your investment strategy or maybe your estate planning strategy, this is the place where you want to start.
You'll be shocked to hear I was actually having an estate planning conversation on the beach last weekend. It just kind of finds you. I mean, it definitely finds me. And we were chit-chatting, and it was like one of those, exactly the scenario that you just outlined. Everyone standing around on the beach, chit-chatting about a whole bunch of things, and lo and behold, in the middle of that conversation was, hey, quick question. You're an estate planning attorney, right? As a matter of fact, I am. Yes, I do. Yes. And they were like, great, we got a question for you. I'm like, I'm sure you do. Fire away. And the question comes...
I just happen to have my chair with me, so I'm going to put this down.
Hold on. Let me just write down the time.
My chair and cooler.
And so the question comes with all of the... I'm not even sure this is a word, but all the casuality that you could imagine that a question on the beach would come with, right? Yeah. And by the way, so does the response, right? Yeah. There's no airs about the conversation. No one's playing lawyer. Everyone's just standing around BSing, right? But you've established your bona fides, as they say, right? So now you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, actually, we've done this for a long time, but what's your question? And you're just doing what we do here on the show, just answering questions. And in the words of the great Jeremy Irons from Margin Call, explain it to me like I'm a small child or a golden retriever. And that's exactly how we do it.
And when you're on the beach, there's usually both of them, at the beach, any given beach, right? And so, but you're that answer, like that question, I mean, you're ready for it, right? You're like, really, do you want to talk about this? Because it'd be like asking some sportscaster, like, hey, do you want to talk about baseball? Like, I have a baseball question. Like, I've been covering the Red Sox for 30 years. Like, you bet I got an answer.
And here's the thing, right? To the untrained eye, to those who know John and I in numerous different settings and the different sort of, hats and responsibilities that we wear, believe it or not, we do have a modicum of professionalism, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm answering questions, yes, right. So when I'm answering questions in a conference room with clients, and we're trying to, obviously we want to put our best foot forward, there's a bit of a formality to the way the questions are answered. But we've joked on the show a million times, but when somebody just walks up to you, beer in hand, and says, hey, I got a question for you, you can just let it fly. You can just answer the question, no airs about it. You can cover all kinds of scenarios, and it's refreshing, believe it or not.
But here's the thing, and because of the titles that we both hold,
sure,
right? The beauty of it is when you ask that question on the beach. And I have this vision of Jay, like him walking like with like a big wide brim hat and a metal detector on the, like kind of bumping into people like, hey, how you doing? Hey, and with a sign that says, I'm an estate planning attorney. Any questions?
Ask me anything.
Any questions? Shoot. But no matter where they ask you a question, whether they ask you a question like in the courtroom or they ask you on the beach, you are under fiduciary responsibility to give them the answer, the best answer that you think suits their situation.
The answer that is the best for them.
Exactly.
You never take that hat off.
Yeah.
You never take that hat off.
You don't. And even as fun and as joking as we are, like if someone says, hey, what do you think I should do about it? And you're like, look, I'm not going to tell you what I don't know your whole story. However, let me give you a little understand, a little background on kind of what you're talking about.
I don't know all the backstory, but I do know that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. I'm just letting you know. I don't know what the story is, but that's a bad idea.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to tell you to do it. However, at this point right now, if I had to make a decision, I would say no.
I'd say
don't
pump the
do
brakes
that.
on that idea.
No.
So, but it finds you. It finds you everywhere you go. Someone walks up and says, "John, I got $1 million. Can I retire?" Well, hold on. There's a whole bunch of conversations that can happen around that. Hey, Jay, I'm trying to get my house protected from a nursing home. What do I do? Hey, do I have to go to probate on this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. Like, okay.
The first thing you do is you sign this agreement.
That's the first thing you do. First thing you do. If you really want to lock this down, let me get you a pen.
Do you really want to know?
Actually, you know what? You have your phone on you? Let me send it to you electronically.
You
can do it right here.
Tell you
Hold
what,
on
we'll
one
do
second.
this
Hold
right
on.
here,
On your way to
right
the,
now.
On your way to the snack shack.
Do we have service here in this beach?
Wait for the phone to ring. When it beeps, just tap, tap, and we're good to go. Yep.
All right, so yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do. That's
what we do. That's a long
intro
explanation of what we do. And we also provide some fun and frivolity about other topics. And
we love doing it. You wouldn't be doing it this long if you didn't like it.
I mean, we get paid a lot of money to do this, right? On this show. God. Yeah, I mean, God bless Tom and all the contract that we just read, the lucrative contract that we
the challenging part for me lately, because we've been so busy,
is cashing that check.
It's using the My FM 101.3 jet to head down to New York City, because we do a lot of that stuff.
I use the helicopter all day. That's just to get me into town.
I'll use if I have to fly commercial, I'll use the helicopter to get me from the airport into the city. But what I try to do is I try to use the jet just to get me closer.
Yeah,
I just try to use that. That's easier. That's
easier. I have to fly commercial one more time. Yeah, Tom and I are going to have a talk.
If I can't get to the FOB, I am going to lose my mind.
We're going to have a talk.
Yep.
So speaking of talk, what I wanted to talk about today is something that is kind of like it's one of the big buzzes that's happening right now.
I've heard the kids talking about it.
Yeah,
it's called kids talking about
right,
it.
And there's so much backstory, and those of you who grew up in the '80s and grew up like watching like the birth of Arnold Schwarzenegger as an actor, you understand that you have this inherent Pavlovian response when you hear about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
You're like, oh no. All that means is that it's going to be Terminator and it's going to be
robots are coming
nuclear
for us.
Armageddon.
The robots are coming for us.
We have to invent a time machine so we can send Michael Biehn back in time so he could stop him and save his mother. Or sorry, that's not his mother. Sarah Connor. Save his girlfriend, and then the whole that whole. So when you think artificial intelligence, of course, we all jump. Those of us, those children of the 80s,
first thing you think of.
We jump to that conclusion. But right now, we're not there yet. Right now, artificial intelligence is kind of like a cool thing, and which I'm sure it was back then for a while too, right? So we're talking about artificial intelligence and kind of that whole AI world, right? And kind of how AI is kind of like burst onto the scene in the sense of it's kind of touching a lot of different areas of people's lives.
Sure.
From everything from in our world, like the finance world, and in industry, in everyday life, in travel, in just organization of like your ideas and organization of of information. This artificial intelligence is starting to become very big and very prevalent, and people are like, okay, this is good. Is this going to be?
Is this here to stay?
Is this
here to stay?
Yeah, I mean, is it here to stay? And to what extent do I need to kind of commit to it? To what extent do I need to kind of embrace this? And am I going kind of all in on it, or am I going to kind of give it some? I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to understand it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going to kind of be able to do some independent thinking. And so that's what I want to talk about today.
All right.
Especially when it comes to, I mean, the for us, it's like in the finance world, right?
Sure.
Because now it's like, hey, AI, all you got to do is just plug in this model and blah, 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 blah.
I can do everything myself now.
And all
I don't need anybody to do anything.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about kind of where right now, kind of where we see AI as, and we see kind of this uptick in like the ability to use data and sort data, because that's really what it translates into. So I'm going to talk about that. What about you? And what's new? Before we go to break, what's new with you?
Nothing new. Nothing new. No, hanging around.
You've been on the beach other than selling estate plans on the beach?
I was on the beach last week. I'm heading down to the Cape today to go to a wonderful, wonderful summer event for the Cape Cod Senior Resource Group, which is a group down the Cape that does a lot of work, obviously supporting the senior community down in Cape Cod. Obviously, we have an office down in Cape Cod. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Well, everybody has.
So, yeah, I'm sure they have. If the marketing is being done right, everybody has. So we are a member of that group, and we're going down today just for a fundraiser to raise some funds for a great cause down there. And so we'll be commiserating with all the folks in the care community down there. There's going to be a lot of lawyers, a lot of geriatric care managers, a lot of folks who run assisted living facilities, memory care places, home care agencies, care, anybody who's in the care space.
The only thing that sounds slightly better than that show is Tommy was telling me that he is going to be heading to Newport, right? Newport, Rhode Island.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's going down there with his significant other. And you know what they're going to do?
What?
They're going to go to a polo match.
Oh, whoa.
Polo, right?
Whoa.
And I'm like, polo, right? So he's fired up about his polo match.
All right.
I told him, right now, Tommy, you can't see him on
stomping
TV.
on some divots
He's
out there.
He's wearing his UFC 316. He's just recently got back from going to UFC. And I asked him if he was training for that. He's like, no, I dabble in it, right?
All right, so Tommy, quick question. You want to Google a couple of things before you get to the polo match. You want to Google Tom Brady outfit, Kentucky Derby. All right, want to see you in like a flat-brimmed hat with some blazer, kind of, you got to kind of work the, you go him or you go Julian Edelman, your call, either one.
Edelman. Take
your choice, and that's where you want to go. That's where you want to take a pick out of those.
I was going to say, you're definitely going to have a little bit of a different uniform change in the UFC 316.
You never know. He's a man. He's a self-made man. He just made like,
right.
This is what
where
you
would
got.
I want to polo?
This is what you got.
Where do I want to polo?
Yeah,
so
that'd be great. You read about him breaking out some UFC moves down at the polo grounds.
Yep, that horse snuck up on me. What was I supposed to do? Right? I had to defend myself.
Guy was wearing a helmet. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. This guy wearing a helmet, had a big club in his hand. Yeah,
all good. It's all good. That's exciting.
All right, so let's. And you know what that is? That's real. That's not AI. That's not artificial intelligence. That's real. Polo's real.
It is real.
Polo's real. And it's
no green screen. That's no green screen.
And the inherent danger that comes with polo. We'll talk about that a little bit. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about AI and talk about how polo applies to that.
And I won the putts last night at golf, but we'll talk about that after the break.
Oh, let's talk about that. All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.
And we're back. My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Tommy on the bag before he heads off to Polo Land. And we're off to the Polo grounds. We're talking about AI today. We're actually real here. These are real people.
We are not AI generated. Although you would think, right? because of the skin perfection, right? That you see if you're watching it on TV, right? You see
this is real Irish rosacea right here.
I can't put my hand through them. This is actual.
That's right. This is all real. This is all whiskey induced. All right, so not fake, not AI generated.
That's amazing. They've really come a long way with that.
They've done a lot with it.
With that Irish rosacea.
Yep, that's right.
A little more rosacea.
Just take that out.
That's what the sun does. Yeah.
Dear ChatGPT, how do I? That's right.
So AI, right? And so there you go. You started like chat, like so it's like this thing, right? It's like it's here, and everybody's kind of getting involved. In every walk of life, you talk about like, oh well, you can use ChatGPT to kind of to write your paper for you, or you can use ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT, what should I do? How should I plan my retirement, right? Or use your chat. What's the best course of action to do Medicaid planning? If how should I?
Sure.
What tools do I need? What instruments do I need in order to best maximize my estate? And you know what? The thing about AI, really what it boils down to, it's all data, right? It's all data, and it's all the ability to kind of synthesize and understand the data, collect it and organize it, and then be able to kind of use it to be able to generate a potential, a predictability, an outcome, a potential. This is what we think. This is
going to help you develop a course of action. That's what it's going to help you develop a course of action.
But it's based on like past data, right?
Yep.
It's based on past information, and then also with that past information, it's based on, well, if this happens, then oftentimes these are the events that can lead from this particular outcome or this particular decision.
Sure.
So all that stuff, like blah, 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 like billions and billions of of these information bytes that now have the ability to be organized in a way where it can help you to, like you said, to develop some sort of a course of action.
And by the way, it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's more than cool.
But like, if you for those of you who haven't dabbled around or haven't played around with it, it's wild. Like you know, remember, we live in the Google world. Like, think about when you're thinking about AI, you think about, okay, I want to go into Google and I'm going to type in, restaurants near me, right? And even go back, like, think about the advances that we've seen. Not that we're old, but we just look old. But if you think about the advances that we've seen,
anymore.
like, we were joking around about MapQuest, right? Like, that was like, when that came out, you were like, oh my God, I could just print the directions out. I remember I had a buddy who used to call the police department to get directions to go somewhere, right? Or you'd call somebody and you'd write them down, right?
Yeah.
Left, right. There's a CVS.
Right.
There's a Costco.
Like Uncle Dave is like telling you, like, are you going to see two houses and you go, yeah.
One of them's blue, used to be blue, kind of half painted. And
Tommy lives there now.
They're going to take it right there, and so that goes away. Then you get to MapQuest. And everyone's like, oh my God, this MapQuest thing is unbelievable.
And
now
it lays it out for you, like, right?
Yeah, left, right, left. I'll
Make sure you print it,
Yep.
and then you'd leave it in their file too, in case when you went back, right?
Yeah, that's right. They're not going to believe it was going anywhere, right? So then somebody's like, well, why don't you just get one of these GPS things?
Remember that?
Right?
Yep.
Not even in the car at the time. Remember, you'd put the plastic thing on your dashboard, and you put that thing on there, right? Okay, so now that goes away.
And that was revolutionary.
Oh my God. You could go anywhere. You weren't afraid to go anywhere.
You know what I didn't need anymore? I didn't need a map.
Well, you need MapQuest. How about map? Maybe you'd have an old map book.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like you next to on the driver's side and that little the compartment right there, it was stuffed with maps.
Yes.
You had my New York map, I had my Boston map, I had my New England map in case I wanted to go to Connecticut. Like, what's the best way, right?
And as a sales guy, if you spent any time on the road, like, you were in those things, right? You were like,
you knew how to read a map.
Yep, that was somebody's job. Depending on where you were in the sales, appointments this week, you need to map out how I'm getting there. Like, I need directions.
Or if you're a plumber, if you're a plumber in Somerset or in Quincy, like in the city, you're like, how do I get from here to South Boston?
What street you want again?
Yeah, exactly.
So
you needed to be able to read a map.
That was chaos. Now you just boom, GPS in your car. You can't go anywhere without GPS. Piece of cake, you're done. Barge on your phone.
Now it's on your phone.
It's everywhere, right? So now we're all in Google. We're typing stuff in, and then Google brings up all this stuff, and then you got to go do sorting all the work and read all the stuff, and then bang, ChatGPT, or any AI program. Now you're just doing what? Go.
Now you just ask a question.
Yep.
Yeah. You just say, what's the best way to make chicken marsala? And then like, blah, blah, blah,
and you get the history of chicken marsala. It's pretty wild. Blah 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 blah. Bob Marsala from New York, 100 years ago. Yep.
Yeah. How do I change a tire on my lawnmower, and what's the best course of action to do that, right? And like what's the best place to buy that tire, right?
Sure.
And like, here's 5, so it's kind of, you get this comprehensive thing, and now and those are relatively easy questions, right? That side, the AI, they don't even try on that. But now it's like, okay, you ask a question. I'm 55 years old. What should I be doing in order to save for my retirement? I have these 3 accounts. What should I do? Like, how much should I put into each one, right?
Yep.
And now you're at this point where ChatGPT or the AI will say, oh, I'm going to give you a definitive answer. I'm going to say, don't put $8,000 a month into this, put $12,000 a month, because based on what the information that you've given me, it enables you to do that. And that's real. That's real stuff, and it's interesting because what it does is that it gives you're like, wow, this is based on some, like on some data, right? Like some source of data that we've had that the AI has been able to access and kind of synthesize for you. But, right? And then there's the but, right?
Yeah, Is it the end all be all? I think that's the question, right?
And that's where where we're at right now, because I think there's extraordinary value in it. There's extraordinary value in a lot of, because again, just the same thing with the internet. Like, think about 30 years ago when there wasn't an internet, and how the world has changed, how just information, access to information has changed over the past, since the internet has showed up, right? And where, we've talked about this before, like how did you find out about anything? Oh, I had to research it at the library. And now it's like, it's in the palm of my hand. I can pretty much ask any question. I can find at least some sort of an answer for it that's relatively reliable. Now, the piece about the piece, particularly when we talk about like this, the modeling and finance and stuff, is like, now it's based on this data, but again, it's based on data that you don't. It may not necessarily be.
Well, it's a moment. It's a moment in time.
It's a moment in time, but it may not be data that necessarily is the same as yours, and this is what kind of where like the individuality of like each situation. We talk about this, and I'm sure you do as well, where everybody's different. Everybody has their own bit of uniqueness. Now, are there a lot of similarities between people? Absolutely, right? There's of course, there's like if you're 55, married, and you have 2 children, and you both have college education, you have dual income. You have a lot in common with a good number of people.
Sure,
right? So if I'm going to develop some sort of a model or develop some sort of an AI kind of projection based on that information, a lot of it could very well apply to you. However, there's going to be the one-offs or the two-offs that may not necessarily apply to you, or may have to be adjusted and understood or altered a little bit because you're different, because you're different. You're different than me. We're different than Tom. Like you're different from your twin brother, who is may just have like a different sense of a different risk tolerance, may have a different kind of attitude towards saving money,
towards life,
towards spending money. So this is where the AI piece, I feel like I love the idea of having something that's kind of numbers based to compare to use as almost like as a starting point, and then to build off of that. Because think about it, right? You've been in finance for 100 years, right?
Yep.
Maybe not 100. Maybe
feels like 100, but sure.
But think about it. I mean, we've been doing model projections and like and charting and all of. I mean, this has been going on for many, many, many years, like long before the whole AI boom started.
Yep.
So, basing like your decisions on numbers and basing your decisions on modeling or basing your decisions on historical performance.
Yep.
Has been something that we've been doing forever. And now the AI is kind of taken to a different level, to kind of like the next level, because it probably can incorporate a little more data. It can incorporate like some more things, but is it ever going to truly capture all of like the entire person, the entire situation, the entire, like you just said, that entire moment in time? Because that moment in time, it's never going to be the same. It's not, in 20 minutes from now, it's going to be different. 2 years from now, it's going to be different.
I mean, I could be completely wrong on this. The time will tell. But I think the way, because you hear this a lot, especially on the lawyer side, like the AI's coming for you. This is how the language is always slipping around that, right? They make it seem like it's this negative thing, if you will. And I think that you're no matter what line of work you're in, you're going to need the people who understand the data and who understand the things that are going on. And I think that AI will continue to obviously grow as a tool that will help, financial advisors be better financial advisors. And it will help lawyers be better lawyers and potentially put together better work product and things like that. But I don't think, and I could be wrong, but, and look, and there certainly are people out there who are the do-it-themselfers. Right? And they're always going to be the do-it-themselvers. AI, no AI, those people aren't going to have lawyers or financial advisors. They're going to find a way to kind of like do it. They're online. They're downloading documents. They're using whatever the free software, whatever they get. They're doing their own things, and so those people are just going to continue to do their thing, and that's fine. But I think that for the majority of folks, they're going to say, "Look, Jay, even if I type in." Assuming I get the questions right, if I type in the right questions or I type it in, I still have to understand the output, right? And so, I mean, I think about it all the time where on the lawyer side, on the legal side, we give you the trust document,
Yep.
So, okay, you're a client, you come in, we draft your trust document.
How's this look?
And we give it to you.
Yeah.
And we say, take a quick second, review this. I would focus my time and energy on the names and the players, and we have all that stuff right. The other stuff is up to you if you want to dive into it. And I cannot tell you, and I just did this the other day for somebody, I cannot tell you how many times we've gone through line by line, page by page, paragraph by paragraph with a client to explain everything that's in a trust document, right? That we have done, I don't know, countless times. I mean, I've written a few.
To quote the great Danny Caffey, you know the law, right? And that's your job. Your job is to say, look, my again, because if I'm an attorney and I'm representing you, I'm a fiduciary. Sure. I have to act in your best interest. So in my understanding of the law, this is what this trust document will solve the problems or achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
That's right. That's right. And we know it because we do it and we've used it and we play in this space really well. Now, does it matter if I use AI to write that document, or does it matter if I handcraft it old school the way we've been doing it for a million years? Does it matter to the client? I don't think it does, because at the end of the day, you're still relying on the advice and guidance of the lawyer. How we kind of generate our work product, which is the end delivery for you. I think that if AI is what somebody uses to get you the best product, great, have at it, embrace it, it's all good. Would I use it to figure out stuff that I don't know? No, because I need somebody else who sees the whole picture that AI doesn't see.
Well, I think that's the key, is that interpretation, right?
Yep.
The interpretation of kind of what this, what you've been handed, or what's been presented to you.
Sure.
And this is going to solve your problem. Let me show you and kind of coach you through how and why this works.
Right.
How it got here. That's right. If you can push a button and AI can say, all right, we're going to generate kind of like a template, revocable trust document for that 55-year-old with 2 kids,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Yep. And here you go. And here's what it is. Now, your job, your firm's job is to look at that and say, is this what we want? Does this sound the way we want it to sound? And maybe it does, or maybe there's nope, we need to change this. We need to change this. We need to change this. So has AI helped you? Sure. It saved you some time. It saved you some time from grinding out that whole thing.
Well, that's the thing. It does a lot of those menial tasks, if you will, that allow you to spend the more important time having a conversation with the client to say, I need to understand your situation in totality so that I can put together kind of the best product, right?
Yeah, but you say they're menial, they're a menial task, but it's important because we're talking about a legal document, right?
Sure.
So even though it's a menial task and I have to include this language, because if I don't include this language in your trust document and something happens, and when you go to settle your estate and someone's got a crazy idea and an even crazier lawyer that's going to come in and be like, oh, wait a minute, that's not this doesn't say this. This doesn't clearly articulate or specify or capture this picture part of the property or whatever, right? And
well, it's always so on a similar situation. Some red leather, yellow leather. On a similar situation, that before I forget, somebody came in the office last week, right? Because people are always coming in the office, and it was a probate matter, and we're sitting there, and so we're going explaining everything. We had done the probate estate for the woman who passed away, and the whole family's there, and they're like, so the guy who gets the job is like, so he's just got this long face, and I'm like, what's the matter? What do you?
And you said WTF?
Why are you so bummed out? He's like, because I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to find time to go up to the probate court up in Lowell. And I'm like, hold on, why are we going to the probate court? And of course, somebody in the corner is like, well, he's going to go to the probate court because he's the personal representative. And I said, okay. I said, but there's nothing that's going through probate because you took all of our advice and guidance and you put everything into a trust.
You did your homework.
You did your homework, right? You read ahead. You did all the work you were supposed to do. You did it. Guess where you don't have to go? And he looks at me and he goes, Lowell? I said, no, you don't have to drive an hour and forever to go to Lowell. And somebody in the corner is like, but Google, and I put my hand up and I'm like, stop, right? We're not talking about Google. We're talking about real life. There's no one's, if you want to go to Lowell, go to Lowell. That's great. But, see the Jack Kerouac stuff and all that stuff. But that's not what you don't have to go. They were flabbergasted. And I was like,
home run.
I'm like, So yes, so
Yeah.
somebody goes and types in, what do I have to do? And they're going to go, well, here's what
Go
you
to
got to
probate
do.
court. Where is
Right,
it?
Where is it? Yeah, that's right. So to your point, you have to understand the output that AI gives you, right? You have to know what the words mean to be able to use it effectively. If you
Yeah.
don't know what the words mean, then what are you doing?
Right, and so you talk about the do-it-yourself, or you talk like when you come bring it over to the financial side, and the AI says, here's what you need to invest in. Here's the breakdown, and oh, by the way, we're going to throw in some investment recommendations
Sure.
based on this model or this fund or this ETF and blah 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 blah. And again, so you being as we mentioned before, you've been in the finance industry for more than a day. What is the one thing that the caveat that comes with every piece of financial, anything that has to do with any type of financial information that's down the bottom that says,
What do the little words say?
Oh, by the way, like this, it's the classic thing. It's like future projections
Past
cannot
performance is no guarantee
cannot be based
performance.
on future performance.
That's right.
Something to that
Yeah.
effect of like that. You can't you can't guess what's gonna happen based on what's happened in the past.
That's right.
We absolutely have to articulate and clearly state that by law because you can't make your decisions based on that.
10% last year is not 10% this year, not 10% the year after. There's so
Right.
many conditions that affect that we can't even predict. No idea. So it gets even. It almost even has not less application, but the application gets almost dicier in the investment world.
Now, does that mean you disregard that information altogether?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And
It's a data point. You started this whole discussion off about data. It's a data point.
It's data, and then so now with the artificial intelligence, with the increased capability of kind of the computer world to be able to generate this data and create and package this data. Great, look at that. This is based on what's happened over the last 30 years and all the other data points that go into this. You're like, wow, that's really interesting. And it could very well be compelling, and it could very well help me to, finalize my decision. But at the end of the day, there's no guarantee. At the end of the day, there's no absolute that if you choose this, that you are going to achieve the results and achieve the goals that you want to on the other end. Because at the end of the day, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Investing, at the end of the day, it's guessing. A lot of it is just guessing. Now, it's guessing based on information.
No, it's guessing. It's guessing based on the data in front of you to say this is what we think is going to happen based on what we know, right? Based on what we know today, which could change in a minute.
And at the end of the day, once you're gonna make a decision based on something that you are not 100% sure of.
So you're going to type a bunch of stuff into AI. Is AI going to be predictive of things like?
I wrote
geopolitical things.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you just read my notes where it says
No, I didn't.
politics?
I was going to say 9/11.
Yeah.
Right. 9/11. Right.
Yeah, everybody saw that coming.
Right.
Everybody knew. Right.
Both in the industry. Right. Knew exactly. You know how the market was going to react to that.
Right. It's not going to predict. Is it going to predict? Is it going to predict weather? I don't know. Yeah. Great. Like think
Hold
about.
on. Let's see. There's a tsunami that happens on Christmas Day that wipes out, unfortunately, 250,000 people. Is that going to have an impact on food supply and supply chains and things like that? Is that did you build that into your AI model?
Or your emerging market investment into Thailand and Indonesia?
That's right.
Is that going to change
Yep.
it? You think things are different there? You think industry is on a growth projection after something like that happens?
Coup d'etat in a foreign third world country is part of your emerging markets plan. Is that built into your plan? Is that built into your plan? Political instability, government overthrow, things like that. Is that part of the plan? Is it in the AI?
I mean, and that's just one example of things that we just absolutely don't know. And now, there's been a conflict happening in Eastern Europe over the past 2 years now between the Ukraine and Russia, right?
Yep.
So the market, the market performance and the market events that have kind of happened all kind of take this into consideration. And this is the thing about the stock market. When we talk about the stock market like all of this is kind of it's thought about
Sure.
and it's considered, and there's and I'm sure there's some AI projection model. There's like the Monte Carlo. Okay, so hey, if Russia drops tactical nukes on the Ukraine, here's what could happen. Here are the industries are going to be immediately infected, and
Sure.
then kind of what we guess the fallout's going to be.
Could you build a system that builds all that in there? I don't know. It's not my space, but I think that it's very hard to be predictive of those things, and you need somebody to understand the data and understand the way things need to be pivoting, because something's different, something's happening. You don't know.
All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and I want to touch some more on this on the financial piece, because this is where kind of the AI, where I'm at this crossroads where I think the information that you're getting is good, but at the end of the day, it's all going to depend on the individual situation.
Understood. Yeah. All right, we'll be back.
All right, don't go away. We'll be right back.
And we're back, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Tommy's on the bag, and we're this is real. These are real people. We're talking AI. We are not AI generated today, but we're talking AI. Maybe someday. I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe Tommy will pay for some software program. Then he'll replace us with two.
That'll be so fun.
Ridiculously
so
handsome.
Fun for
Can you see him typing it in?
Yeah.
I need a really handsome redheaded lawyer. I can need that avatar. I need a
minimum Irish rosacea.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Whiskey infused. That's right. That's
gorgeous
right.
blue eyes. Yeah. That's
right. That's right.
So real quick, I did happen to see our pal Tom last night, because you know where we were. We were at the Tuesday night concert in the park at Stoddard Park.
Bet, yes.
Yep. And the Holliston Hub was videoing it.
Of course they are. They tape everything.
Yep. And I've told you about my buddy Colin Fields, who you got to go see.
I've heard.
Yep. So the great Colin Fields was performing last night, and so he texted me about 4 days before, and he says, "Hey." Because it's kind of embarrassing. It's not embarrassing. After one of our softball games at Stoddard Park, Colin Fields, he plays softball. He's not a bad softball, but he's a much better guitar player than he is a good softball player. Anyway, we were at our post game event, and my daughter Phoebe happened to be at and my daughter Phoebe, who's a musician. I said, "Hey, you got to meet my friend Colin." Blah blah blah. So they meet. Colin texts me 40. He goes, "Hey, does Phoebe want to do a couple songs with me? I'm playing at Stoddard Park on Tuesday night."
Yeah.
So Phoebe came up, no rehearsal time. He texted her "Here, learn these songs." So they did 2 songs,
nice.
And
That's awesome.
So Phoebe got to get up on stage. There was some familiar faces there. Some good softball. It was worth the price of admission, which was free.
Yep,
but and Phoebe was worried. She's going, "Is this like a big deal? Is this a big deal?" I'm like, no, I don't think the tickets are that expensive. And Colin's opening for some red-haired guy named Sheeran. I don't know, whatever. It's not going to be that many people.
You've seen it's the same thing like 4th of July in the Esplanade. It's like that type of scene. You've seen how many people were over there. It's nothing.
Nobody.
Nothing to be worried about. You've seen the Hat Shell. It's like that vibe.
It was good. It was good. We got So my buddy Doug. Do you know Doug Herman?
I do know. Doug Herman.
So Dougie
golfing him quite a bit.
Dougie Herman was there. The invisible fence, right?
Nice,
Right. There was an invisible fence that night. Yeah.
Kids. Put these collars on your kids.
Yeah,
They don't go too
Dougie
far.
Herman, Sean Foley. It was a good crowd.
Wow,
there. It was a good crowd there.
represent.
Yeah, it was a
Nice,
good throw.
there you go.
Yeah, your buddy Sawyer's name was thrown out.
I was playing golf with him yesterday.
He wasn't there. Yeah. He was thrown out and thrown under the bus by one each Colin Fields.
Played, I believe, the relatively new par 3 Acorn over at Shining Rock Golf Course.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Very interesting.
He's been playing a lot of golf this summer.
Sneaking it in.
All right. So let's wrap this up. So we're talking about AI.
Gotcha.
We're talking about AI and how and really how it applies to many like kind of soon to be all
every
aspects
industry,
of
every
life,
industry,
right?
Sure.
But primarily in the financial industry and kind of how, all right, well, because I've had clients say, "Hey, I put in ChatGPT. This is really interesting. I don't know. Like a ChatGPT says I need to do this," and I'm like, "Great." I'm never one to dismiss advice. I'm never one to dismiss like information. I'm never one to say, "Hey, oh, that's stupid. Don't do that."
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't pay any attention to that. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to compare it to kind of what, like my understanding or like our firm's understanding of kind of where you are. And you know what? Wouldn't it be great if like you had some input and say, "Hey, oh, maybe we didn't think of that idea, or maybe this is something that we can add to it." But at the end of the day, I've been saying this the whole show, because it's almost the end of the day. It's like 11.
I gotcha,
every situation has its own unique things that don't apply to anybody else. And particularly in the financial planning and the retirement planning world, your situation is different from everybody else's because you're different from everybody else. And even though it may feel very similar, and even though the advice that you may get from your finance person to say is the exact same advice they'd give to somebody who's not you, it has to be tailored and understood.
It has to be specific to you. It has to be specific to you.
Because if it's not, then you run the risk, and this is a real risk, you run the risk of kind of putting yourself in a situation that you didn't anticipate.
Yes.
And if you get there and everybody wants great returns. Everybody wants I want the market to, I want to make, I want to beat the market, right? I want to beat the S&P 500. Everybody wants that. But there's a good chance you can beat the S&P 500, but there's also a good chance that you can keep pace with the S&P 500. And when the S&P 500 drops 35% in a year, which we've seen this happen, are you built for that? Or but not even are you built for it, is your plan built for that?
Well, are you built for it because we don't know what's going to happen?
Because we don't know.
So, it's all about the parameters that you're putting in, and you're going to need help with the parameters putting in, because it's not your space, right? And you're going to need help with the parameters coming out, right? So it's the same thing, garbage in, garbage out. You're still going to have to deal with the same thing, and I think that's where it's a tool that's going to assist the professionals that you're working with on a regular basis to help. Again, these are people you're collaborating with to help you get the best outcome you can possibly get. That's what you're working on.
At the end of the day, at the end of your job, my job, we've said it. All you want is you want your clients to be happy. And so you client, tell me what it is that you want that's going to make you happy. I want to be able to retire when I'm 67 years old and not have to work anymore, or have the choice of whether I want to do, and not have to rely on having to get in my car, work a full-time 40-hour work week in order to, and free up my time to be able to kind of do what I want. And if I want to continue to work, great, I'll do that. But if I want to not work and I want to spend time with my grandkids, or I want to travel with my wife, or I want to buy a house in Florida and I want to spend half the year in Florida, that's what I want to be able to, okay, that's going to make you happy.
It's going to be the same answer that it's always. The answer is going to be simple. Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want to work with people, have them do it for you, have them be a partner to something else? Look, everybody's do it yourself. At some point, if you want to do everything yourself, that's a decision. Otherwise,
don't do your mulch yourself.
Got to offload some of this.
Yeah.
Got to offload some of this.
Yeah, all right.
All right, we're ready. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
let's AI ourselves out of here.
It's time to wrap this up. All right. So as always, if you have any questions, you can reach us at moneyinthelaw.net. That's all one big blah, blah, blah,
Send us all your questions.
Send us all your questions. Hey, continue to keep having a good summer. You said you won the putt golf. We need to
low putts.
Yeah.
Laser focused.
You're good. Well, you know what you are? You're an attention to detail guy, right?
That's I'm known for. Oh, absolutely known for that.
Attention to detail.
That's what everybody says when they think of me. Yeah.
Attention to detail. All right. Tommy,
have a great week. Enjoy polo, my friend.
Yeah, listen, right? Be careful out there. Like we said, it's a dangerous thing, and if you have to take a horse down or a guy with a helmet, don't be afraid to
practice
do it.
Your Brahmin.
Yeah. All right. We'll see everybody next time on Money in the Law. Continue to have a great summer.
Have a great week.